All right, we are live. Welcome back, everybody, for part two of tonight's coverage regarding the Cash Gernon case. We've got a lot to talk about. Since part one, which was done on Sunday, we were able to cover some very valuable information pertaining the walkthrough analysis of the boys' room, along with the incident that occurred. Both Cash and Carter nestled up together in their crib, sound asleep, until moments later an intruder enters that room where the boys were. And we saw some very strange things. We walked through those things in a step-by-step, frame by frame, still shot for still shot analysis. I hope everyone had walked away with some very important information pertaining to that analysis, because that analysis now is going to be used tonight in connecting additional information pertaining to the actual intruder that entered that room. I want to welcome you all for part two tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. I usually give my shout outs to everyone in the room: Miss Connie Lockridge, Miss Nay, Miss D. Walsh, Miss Jenny, Ann. Those of you who are joining us in the bushes, and that's fine too. But we will proceed and begin tonight's second segment, in understanding some additional critical information that we have to tie together. And this claim I'm going to make: when you leave here, you will know for yourself, in a positive way, a very distinct way, who this intruder is, because we do have the intruder identified now. That's right. We do have the intruder identified. Before we begin, if you need to contact somebody by text or cell phone, please do it, because they're going to want to see what we are about to show you. Once we cover this information tonight, it will be, without a doubt, my opinion, let me throw that in there, my opinion, you will know who the intruder is. With solid, clear-cut perception, yours, you will know for yourself. And it'll put to bed one of the most controversial points in this case as to who is in the room with Cash and Carter. Before we get into that part of the segment, we have to bring you back to part one. I'm not going to belabor it. We went over some points of perception to get you ready to take a look at the information to begin the walkthrough. This is a crime scene, and we do not take any of the information that we're putting out on this channel based on this case lightly. We want justice for Cash. We want love and healing for Carter. He has a long way to go, but hopefully we'll get there soon and safely and securely get a conviction for what happened to Cash in this case. On the legal side, that's going to take time, and we all understand what kind of time that is. This is an ongoing investigation. Evidence is still coming in from forensics, as you may have heard. They have blood evidence from forensics that came back that identified blood on the clothes of the intruder, which is the suspect now in custody. Darian Brown. But yet there are still some unleft pieces that have to be connected in reference to forensics. So I believe that the Dallas Police Department, along with the FBI, are building a circumstantial case at this point until the additional forensics comes in. And this way they can proceed with the prosecution of the murderer of Cash Gernon. So with that said, let us begin. All right. Welcome, everyone. I just need to get set up here for a moment. Once again, if you have your notebook and pencil ready to take additional notes for part 2 tonight, please get them now so that this way you can continue to take notes on what we're about to cover here tonight, which is the walkthrough that Kameron Mori took us through, interviewed by the Daily Mail shortly thereafter to report to them exactly what he experienced and what he was able to put together in reference to how the house was breached and how the intruder got in. So with that said, give me a moment. Okay, welcome back. I'm just getting my notes here together. And this is pretty much where we left off. We left off in part 1, analyzing and reviewing the incident that occurred that night, May 15th, early morning of May 15th. And we see here the beginning of the video that was shot that captured this incident. Let me just do this. And see if we can go to full screen share. Okay. Where is that tab? Where is that tab? I'm looking for that tab. Give me a moment. Okay, that's the tab. I knew I'd find you. Okay. Can everyone see that type of 1 and at the same time give me a sound check? Type of 1. Make sure things are working here. Okay, we've got good sound and we've got a good screen. Many of you made comments on our first live pertaining to the video surveillance analysis that we did on Sunday. And wow, I've had a ton of comments that I had to actually read. If I give you a heart, that means I read your comment. If I haven't returned or replied the comment yet, it's just a lot. And I'm trying to cover both doing lives to cover the information as well as reply to your comments. You've got some excellent comments stating that a lot of people learned something from the walkthrough that we did. And I'm glad because that was my intention. Also, there were comments of just a different idea or theory regarding what was actually seen by you. And I appreciate all of your comments in that regard. It helps to clarify and crystallize my thoughts and ideas as to what you've seen. So it helps me to take another look at your perceptions. That's a good idea. Let me see if that fits, and so on. And this is what has created tonight's content. So with your help, thank you. Thank you. This is a team effort that we are engaged in, and I'm very happy to be a part of it. So with that said, welcome everyone. So in our last live in part 1, we've covered the information that you see before you. And here we have Carter going to bed at whatever time it is, because there are no timestamps on the video. And that's a piece of information that, we deem very critical. Time is of the essence and a heavy factor in this case. It is not in color. A lot of it is still vague, but the timestamp is very important. Now, the reported timestamp that was given to us takes us to about almost 5 a.m. in the morning. If you have a different time, please share that in the chat. If there was a different report by the authorities and the officials investigating this case, and you have a different timestamp, please post it in the chat. From my understanding, this was near close to 5 when the video surveillance unit was activated. Welcome, Crystal Moore. Yes, thank you all for taking your time out to show your support for tonight's live. And we've analyzed the video to a point. Without a timestamp, it's hard to determine the time factor that's involved. But this is the information that the Daily Mail had published and posted for public viewing. Why they did that is their motivation. I believe they have their reasons. Does it add to something pertaining to the case, or does it take away from something regarding the case? Either way, it has been given to us to examine, to understand, and to pray for justice for what happened to Cash. Okay, thank you. Thank you all. I got ones and I got a green light. Sounds good. Okay. All right. Just give me a second, because I've got to remember where my tabs are now. So going here, we're going to do just one more walkthrough so that we can become reoriented with the scene and the room, the video surveillance footage itself. I wanted to actually show this video surveillance without any visual obstructions in it. There are a number of video footages that are out there which have the Daily Mail logo in the upper left-hand corner spread out to a point where it could cover some vital information and evidence pertaining to the crime scene here. So I wanted to get something that was very clear, distinctive, so that we can see everything without any obstructions. So let us begin tonight's coverage. And picking up where we left off, we're going to cycle through this at regular speed and once again reorient ourselves with the crime scene and the incident that happened on May 15th of this year to Cash Gernon and his brother, Carter. And as we see, this video surveillance footage has been activated by Carter coming into the room whence he came to go to sleep. as you see him do here. Moments later, we have an intruder that enters the room. And here I covered information about, about our intruder and the crime scene itself. We specified how tall is he. We specified a number of things. What color pants, what color shoes, what color jacket, what color is the backpack? How tall do you think he is from the floor up? How tall do you think he is from the ceiling down? How far away from the boys is he standing before you? What was his intention? Did he seem like he knew he had been there before? Or was this his first trip? What did it appear to you to be like? Was the question. And so in your notebook, you took down some notes and you wrote down a slew of things: height, weight, possible height, possible pant size, possible jacket size. What kind of hair? Is he black? Is he white? Etc., etc. How many items on the floor? How many windows there were? Any movement in those windows? Etc., etc. So now with your notes tonight, I want you to take a careful look at the same walkthrough in natural speed again to see if you have everything in your notes before we proceed to part 2. And as you can see, he's viewing the room, carefully and methodically thinking to himself what he plans to do. I figure the individual before you is about almost 6 feet high, possibly 6'1", weighing about 160 to 165 pounds. The shoes could be a possible size 12, pants between a 28 waist and 32 waist. Jacket would be about a 40 long regular. There is a headband. There is a backpack. Just to give you some food for thought as to what my ideas are about the intruder. As you can see, he is touching the blanket, removing it from Cash's body. He feels it is an obstruction. Hence, he turns, looks out the window. He goes back to analyze what he's about to do. He's confident in knowing what he can do. And here he's going to get ready to commit to what he is doing. He's making sure that Carter is asleep. And there was a question, did Carter actually see who was in the room? And here he commits and leaves. And this is the information that we covered in part 1. Now, when you take a look at this video surveillance footage, the one that we are looking at right now, it's 3 minutes and 57 seconds long. So it really didn't take that time for this incident to happen, according to what we're watching. Let's continue and close the video out in its entirety to see if there's any additional movement in the room. And we have no more movement. The next frame in the video, we actually now see Darian Brown entering the room approaching Carter, and then walking away. Carter getting up, noticing that Cash is not in the bed anymore, coming off the side that Cash went to sleep on, and he begins to follow Darian Brown in the room. Goes out of picture frame. Moments later, he returns. And he is wondering where his brother is. All of this, 3 minutes and 57 seconds long. This is all the evidence that we were given pertaining to these two distinctive sites, both night vision and day. We talked about the film being edited possibly, and that could be true because of the nature of the film and how the film was actually condensed. Is there a condensation of this film? Yes, indeed, I believe so, because we have two different sets of time involved here. We have a night and a day. This information is what we've been given to analyze and look at and to determine not only what happened to Cash, but how it happened to Cash and who was involved directly in this incident. Give me a moment and let me come back home to you. Okay. With everyone here, thank you for joining us. Let me undo this and get to our next part. It's interesting to see the many different perspectives and perceptions that you all shared with me concerning that video surveillance piece. And I thank you very much for doing so, because it helped me to crystallize what we're about to walk through tonight. Let me get it together. And tonight, we're going to walk through the second part. Here we have our next video piece to analyze tonight. And this is Kameron Mori, age 18, lives at Monica Sherrod's house, is a member of the family. He has a sister, Emily, 16, and there are several other children that make up the household of the family. So tonight, what we're going to do is watch exactly what he wants us to see in terms of his experience in this case and his information. Mary Martin says, I get bad vibes from him. So we're going to activate his interview with the Daily Mail. And so we'll be able to actually watch him give us his walkthrough in its entirety.
To lock it up. And that's where he came in. He lifted the door up, and right here, as you can see, it's been kicked in or tampered with, if you would call it. And he made his way through here while we were all asleep. Quiet, I guess. I don't know why nobody heard him around here. And then into here, this is where the boys slept. This is where they were sleeping that night. He slept in the bed. He just came in, just stood over him, just watched him. The cameras are here, directly at the crib, watching. They just picked him up, took him back that way, carried him, just like carried him, brought him back this way, and just took him took him back out that way. And from there,
Okay, I'm just working out a couple of things here, but that is the information that we've received from Cameron. Hold on one second. Oh man, there's a lot of noise coming, honey.
It's just a paper bag.
Okay. All right. Thank Okay. Thank you for bearing with me. So we see a lot of information here in this video surveillance footage. And as you can see, it's quick, to the point. It's from the garage door. It's into the garage to an interior door. Through that interior door, cutting to the right into the kitchen, down the kitchen to the dining room, cutting to the left into the living room, cutting to the left into the boys' room, past 2 sliding glass doors into the boys' room. He shows us the crib, a little space in the area. He tilts to the left and shows us the shelf where the video surveillance camera is. And then he continues his walkthrough by exiting the boys' room, past the sliding glass doors again, back into the living room, cutting to the right, passing the dining room, back into the kitchen, out of the kitchen, cutting to the left, back through the door, toward the garage, into the garage, cutting to the right, and back outside. I think I've covered it. All right. So now what we're going to do is to bring that same video piece back to you. And we're going to slow it down. And we're going to give you some details as to what that walkthrough consisted of with no sound. We don't really need Cameron's voice in this. And I'm going to walk you through this analysis to orient you on things to pay attention to, as we did in part 1, and see if you see certain things that you didn't see before. Obviously, here in the very beginning, the Daily Mail captures this beginning, specific beginning, to start their video shoot. Okay. We see 2 vehicles in the driveway. One is a sedan, 4-door, used as a family car, most likely. We see a white van next to it, pointed out toward the street. Could be a commercial vehicle of some sort. It looks like a utility van of some sort. Could be used for utilities, construction, who knows? But this is how this video piece started, directly in the garage. And I show you this particular item only because this is where we have to start. And I want you to notice body, language, physiology, movement, consistency of movement, cadence, pace. I want you to be able to watch how everything is shown in this video piece, and hence raising your awareness, raising your perception to add to your notes. So with that said, let's begin. Here we have Kameron Mori, age 18, is familiar with Darian Brown. They know each other, either from school, from the neighborhood, hence they know each other, of each other, about each other, and so forth. But here we have Kameron, and let me do this real quick because we don't want Kameron to go too fast in showing us what he wants us to see. Because specifically, that's what this video piece is specifically all about. Things he wants us to see. So let us see what he wants to show us. He is stating in this video piece right now that this is how Darian Brown entered the home in the morning of the 15th through these garage doors, which made an awful sound with just him rocking the doors with his right hand. He is now leading the camera crew of the Daily Mail through the garage, and pay careful attention to detail. Here to the inner door, left hand first, now right hand second, and he is identifying a breach in the door. It was stated that this door was kicked in by Kameron. This is an upper deadbolt lock that needs a key, and a lower bottom door lock to the entire door. And as you can see, if anyone were to kick this door in, it would have left a footprint, imprint, embedded in the door, in which we see that this door does not have that. He backed up and stated that it was tampered with. Let's get rid of that. Sorry about that. Was tampered with. And then somehow the intruder jimmied his way through this door, tampering with the lock, and then opening the door, pushing the door. You can see the inner frame of the door does not have any damage to it whatsoever from any kick or any sudden impact to that door. So he had to rephrase his statement by saying the lock was jimmied and this is how they got in, or this is how he got in. As we can see the door opening, pay careful attention to the next room we enter. See the door frame. No damage to it here from any sudden impact from a kick, but yet he is identifying the lock here that had been tampered with. And this is one of those, very cheap store locks, door handle locks that lock from the inside. Some of them have a key to the outside, some of them don't, but obviously this one has a key to the outside along with the deadbolt at the top. Neither one shows any sign of severe damage from a kick. As the camera pans in, take a careful look at the lock. Examine the lock. See how this lock could have been tampered with. A screwdriver could have been used. A knife could have been used. A small crowbar could have been used. Maybe even a plastic credit card could have been used. Either way, this door down below has more tampering evidence to it than anything else concerning the deadbolt lock. Because when these things lock, and they lock tight. As we proceed, I want you to notice everything that Kameron shows us now in reference to his body language, his physiology, and how he is taking us through this walkthrough. Inside here appears to be a laundry room where we have a washer and dryer combination. It appears to be no doorways through this room at all. 2 cabinets in the upper right-hand corner, along with some other items here. As we make the right turn into this area, notice carefully the items that he is passing on both left and right sides. We're looking for cameras in the interior part of this kitchen, of the laundry room, the kitchen, and dining room area. And I'm going to go step by step through this. I want you to notice the color that the cameraman from the Daily Mail is capturing here. I want you to know how close he is to Cameron's body, how Kameron is walking. And we're getting a little buffering here. What this kitchen looks like on the interior now that we have it in front of us. Where items are to the left of this kitchen. Where items are to the right in this kitchen. The color of the kitchen. The height of the ceiling, walls, and length of the floors. Kitchen looks about 8 feet, possibly 9 feet in length. Past the refrigerator on the right. Dining room straight ahead. We have the dining room here to the far right. We have a clock on the wall here with an overhead kitchen light. And this is a pretty broad and big overhead kitchen light to illuminate enough light here in the dining room, possibly the living room. Half turn, 45 degrees into an area that would be considered a living room, possibly. Hence, it's a storage room, it appears to be, with a lot of different items in it. Furniture, vacuum cleaners, chairs, accessories to the house. As he makes a 180-degree turn to the left, we have the sliding glass doors that lead us into the boys' bedroom. I want you to pay careful attention as to how Kameron walks through the sliding glass doors, because it's very unique in reference to what we see. And he steps in with the left foot, slants his body with his left shoulder going in, pivoting and twisting to the right, right hand on the handle. and it appears to be a very narrow door, less than 26 inches wide, which would be a standard size door entrance in some cases and in some places. But most of them are about 26 to 27 inches in width. But he has to step in through the door sideways. He takes us in, and obviously now we have additional furniture, items here. We have a window. We have a doorway leading to the back of the house, to the outside of the house. The cameraman steps in behind Kameron. Now you can get to see a little bit more in terms of the dynamics of the room that we didn't see in video 1. Now, hence, I want to show you something very important. Over to the right-hand side, we have a piece of furniture that becomes a very important factor in this case. Over here, we have a window. I want you to keep in mind. Because if I'm looking at this right, as you are, we understand that the camera was here to the right on the upper tier, top tier of this piece of furniture here, pointing into the direction of where the crib is. But I also want you to notice that same direction corresponds to the window. Let me show you something very unique, and I'm going to pop it up here right now. What you see on the screen is an Arlo Security Systems camera. Can everyone see that? Just type a 1. I just want to make sure my equipment is working. Okay. Just type a 1. 2, Boss Blake says no. Okay, so let me just counter that. Well, let me continue, and then I'll come back to that part. But as I stated, it is significant for this shelf to be here, the shelf that contained the camera pointed in this vicinity and at that angle directly at the window. I want you to keep that in mind as we continue the walkthrough. Kameron takes us in. Cameraman moves to his left. And now we see the rest of the orientation of the room. The windows, the main window here, the furniture behind him now, the crib, the ceiling fan that had no blades, items on the floor in the corner, items wrapped around the curtains, down across the floor where the paint cans were. Camera now takes us, someone's trying to, further into the room, giving us a better orientation as to the crib the boys slept in. And then we notice now the true dimensions of that crib, holding 2 boys opposite each other while they sleep. This would be about, as a good guesstimate, possibly 3 feet wide, 3.5, 4 feet wide, possibly, give or take. That is a small crib area for 2 boys. Very small. So you can imagine the cramped conditions of sleeping. In front of us now we have 2 windows and an air conditioner just above the boy's head. We have an outer crib railing here leaning up against this wall, near and about the curtain, underneath the frame of the window. So this area was highly congested. Cameron points with his left hand over to the furniture piece, which now held and contained the video surveillance camera monitor at the top tier. He points directly to it. He goes back to show us that the video surveillance camera captured the boys while they were sleeping. I want you to notice Cameron's height to the room as he continues to give us his walkthrough. I want you to notice shoulder length, neck height, hair, hairline, facial features, width of the body, waist size, arm length, skin tone, everything that we've covered in part 1. He goes on to explain that the intruder came in, picked up cash, took in this way, back out of the room, past this furniture piece where the camera was, carrying cash. He makes a gesture. He heads back toward the sliding glass door. Watch how he exits the room. Left shoulder first, left foot first, right shoulder second, right foot second. Comes back through the door, cuts to the right, past the living room or the area with the storage item, where the items that they had in the house were stored. Back past the dining room to his left. We notice the light fixture here in the dining room, the clock on the wall, the 3 chairs. Cuts further to the right. We have a refrigerator with items on it, possibly letter magnets. We see the stove. He gestures forward, pauses, leans forward, watch his cadence, watch his walk, watch his physiology. He passes back through here. Now we have a different color scheme. We could see a little bit more in terms of the lighting, how low the ceiling is compared to the floor, how wide the walkway is, the width of the doors, cabinets, countertops, utensils to the left, coffee maker to the left, items to the right. Comes back into the doorway. We have a pantry area here to the left. Back in past through the doorway. To the left is a doorway that heads back to the garage. I want you to notice door frame. Did you notice how clean the kitchen was? How organized and straight the kitchen was? How organized and straight the dining room was compared to the room adjacent to it, which may have been the living room that had all of that furniture in it, just as well as we see now in the garage area with all of the furniture in it. So there was heavy clutter in two places, which we know of now, in the house. Areas that would be considered by code enforcement to be a fire hazard, in which obviously there were. Back out through past the doorway, cutting to the right to the driveway. We could see that white van now. We could see the sedan. The cameraman suggests that this is the way Darian left the house. Okay. All right. That's a lot of information. But now I want to go to specifics. Let me do this real quick, because this I'm going to have to do on an independent screen share. Thank you all for joining us tonight for part 2. We're going to get right into this, folks. Going into screen share. Okay. Negative. Okay. All right. That's where we left off. Can everyone hear me still? Yes. Type of 1. I'm going to drop this down. I'm going to drop this down. And I think I lost my photos, so I'm going to have to bring them back up. Okay. This is the Arlo camera, video surveillance camera, that we showed you in part 1, that was used in Monica Sherrod's house. And I just want you to pay careful attention to this short little clip as to the camera's operation and function, just for a moment. And as you can see, the 2 clips regarding this camera shows you a remote control operated from a cell phone and the camera's function as it functions in regards to recording both regular and through night vision infrared. Now, I wish I had all of my photos back here. I think I had it here. I'll bring it back up. And now we have information pertaining to that security system here at the Arlo security website. How these cameras can be activated and operated by remote control or cell phone. We went over the camera's features and specifications in part 1. If you missed that, please go back and watch that part. The camera's accessories, all items needed in order to operate a security system within the home, office, or elsewhere. Here you'll have all of the information that you need regarding this security system, which can record and be stored on a cloud, given simple operations, a monthly subscription, so you don't necessarily have to buy all of the equipment, as was brought up in part 1, when I mentioned you can actually get the system from Walmart, but there are monthly plans. So seeing this camera in operation, knowing where it was placed in the boy's room, and getting an idea of how it functions with infrared night vision, capturing both the night vision portion of the video and the day portion of the video, we get to understand a little bit more about what was seen and what was not. Taking one more look at this camera will give you a good idea of I'm going to get to it right now. This shot here, paying very careful attention once again, I want you to pay careful attention at the window in the room. Many people question that area of the window to state that there may have been a person there video recording the incident. And hence, I came up with another idea. Oh, let me see if I can catch it again. I'm sorry. One more time. I want you to watch the motion of the intruder and that window together. As soon as he picks up Kameron, you will see something appear in the window. There it is. I stopped it for you right there. Here you have motion detection by the camera of the intruder committing to pulling cash from the bed. As he pivots and turns, we see the light at the window. Remember, the camera was opposite, directly opposite, pointing in this direction specifically. And hence we have the reflection of the camera in the window, past the curtains, reflecting back to us as motion is being detected. Do you understand what I just said? Watch again. Carefully. Let me do one of our favorites and go to slow motion. And now you can see what I see. Pay careful attention Use your perception to see this now. As he commits to pulling cash from the bed, watch the window. He pulls. Now. I stopped it. And hence, you have the light in the window. Boom. Motion has been detected. What does the light do? It goes back out. Now the light is gone. Once again. He commits. His hands go under Cash's arms. He gets ready to commit. He's committing now. Watch the window. Pulls, motion, light, motion, light goes out. The next motion that's detected in the room is when Carter moves. And he slightly moves his head in the crib and activates the light again. And the light goes out. Boom. Okay. So we've been able to take a look at something and perhaps solve that question a little bit. A little bit. But now, I hope everybody's with me on this. And if you are, I know later on tonight, you'll go back over this video, do it in slow motion, and detect it for yourself independently. Okay. That's what this camera does. That's what this camera does. And being that it has infrared senses with a motion detector, if dark enough as we see it to be, that light would be able to reflect at least 10 to 12, possibly even in that foot range across a room against a window and reflect light back as we saw it. Just as we saw it. Okay, moving right along. I think we're making good time. I think we're making good time. Next part. Let me just go back here for a second. Make sure everybody's doing okay. Okay. How's everybody doing? I know it's a lot. No, Kentucky, I don't have the video of the memorial site. I'm working on putting that information together. But now here's something very important I wanted to show you. And just give me a minute to set it up. And then we can get to one of our major points that I had pointed out at the beginning of the live, stating that we do have an idea as to who the intruder is. I'll be right back. Okay. I'll go back in the screen share. Thank you all for coming. There'll be some discussion tonight. Going back in the screen share. Okay, I got to get rid of this. And just give me a second. Okay, let me drop the background down and let me begin my work. We're going to go over some Q&A now. Okay, the image before you. Tell me what you see. Tell me who you think you see. We see Cash, and we see the intruder. I was able to get a little bit more light from this photo so we can see a little bit better, even though motion is hard to crystallize sometimes, so you get the best shot you can. Wow, we got a lot of Camerons in here. Okay, some DBs. Kameron. Okay. Guy carrying cash. Yes, Mary Martin's the guy carrying cash. Who do you see it is? Who do you see? Just as we did in part 1. And please do not answer old woman, young woman. Okay? Okay, so we have some DB and some say Kameron. And from this image, it can be very hard to actually tell. However, as good as perception as you have, now tell me. Here's a second look up close. Mama J says Kameron. DB. Curly hair. DB. 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 Honcho bands. Kameron. DB. Loose curls. Kameron. DB. Kameron. DB. DB. Someone said BD. Okay. That's not dreads, Crystal Moore says. And in looking and studying this picture, I kind of was saying the same thing you guys did. Is it Kameron? Is it Darian? Is it Kameron? Is it Darian? And I studied this picture and studied this picture. We do have the Adidas jacket here with the emblem on the left shoulder. We do have a tight grip underneath of Kameron's arms. His arms are buckled or bent in front of him. They're not hanging straight down, but are buckled in front of him. We see that backpack behind. We still see just very bright colors, nothing black in the way of the hoodie, nothing black in the way of the pants. Let's go back upstairs. It was stated that there were black sunglasses, which do not appear to be black at all, because black would be just plain black, dark sunglasses. Item that was found to have had blood, Cash's blood on it. So I had to do a little bit more digging. I had to look for another picture. Now, I had to look once again at the room and the intruder as he stood like this. And then I had to look. I had to look for a comparison, something that would bring me closer to identifying who's in his picture. I found this, tried to line it up as best as possible. Let me see if I can get it a little bit better. I don't know if you all can see that. This is what you would call a superimposition. Superimpose the picture against the night vision picture and a picture of Darian actually being outside at the neighbor's gate. I tried to match it up that way. Obviously, this was tough to actually pinpoint a match, but I wanted to show it to you as you see it, because this thing takes work to actually pinpoint what you're looking for. I studied this picture to see if there were similarities of any kind. This was hard to do also because, one, the picture to the left is the night vision picture, obviously much bigger than the picture on the right. There are two different stages or two different locations. One is more at a tilt because this was taken from a video surveillance footage camera that was tilted down from almost a bird's eye view, versus the picture on the left, which was taken at a more, I would say, acute, but more at a leveled angle. So this was even hard to look at in terms of the shoes. Height, arm length, hair. This was difficult. Until I got this shot. This is the one I said, okay, if there's any better lighting regarding that night vision shot in that bedroom with the boys, this would be it. So let us now take a careful and closer look at this picture, folks. Let us start as carefully and as closely as possible. This is all I could get. The pants do not appear dark or black, so I had to rule that out. So I looked at the hand. The hand is close in color as to the trousers, but I couldn't make out any definition as to whether that was a glove or a naked hand. This was very difficult to see because of the heavy pixelation. When you blow these things up in a still frame, you're going to also blow up pixelation from motion from the camera. Go up top a little bit further. I looked at the waist size, about maybe a 28 to 32 in waist. So he is tall and slim. Long from the waist to the upper torso to the shoulders. Arms are very long, almost as if a 40 regular or 40 long regular would fit, with a 15 to a 15 and a half inch neck. And then I came to this. Tell me, who do you see? Now, who do you see? Take your time. DB, DB, Kameron, Kameron, DB, 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 Crystal Moore, Kameron, Kameron, DB, Kameron, Kameron, DB, 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 Kameron, not DB, DB, Cam, DB. We still have a mixed crowd. I know, it was difficult. Very difficult. This is what happens when you study things like this. So now I had to look for something else. That wasn't good enough. Till I got to this one. Until I got to the next picture. This is what shocked everyone the most. The standing over the bed, staring, contemplating, looking at the boys. And by blowing it up, as we will, I went back down. Still the same. The trousers really didn't tell me much other than what they've told me. Items in the corner didn't tell me much other than what they've already told me. Nothing is moved. I looked at the hand again for definition. There is slight definition here, but not enough to tell me distinctively what I was looking for. As we scroll up, nothing changed in the area of the waist. Nothing changed in terms of the color and the areas of the jacket. The backpack looks a little bit thicker here than it did in another picture when he was leaving with Kameron in his arms, in his hands. The Adidas emblem is not on this side of the jacket. We do see that backpack over the shoulder, but lengthened to a point to where it is in the dead center of his back. Could there have been something in the bag that may have weighed that bag down for that bag to be positioned almost on top of his, the small of his back, just above the buttocks? Until I got upstairs. Now tell me who you see. Now tell me, who do you see? DB. Cameron. Wow. DB, Cameron, DB, Cam. We're getting a lot more Camerons than we have DBs. Wow. Glitter says, my mind keeps changing. Of course, perception keeps changing. That's why I started the live, Sunday with the matter of perception. Okay, so I got this picture, and then I wanted to see something else, something important. I had to go get DB. Can everybody see DB? Now, what I'm about to do here is something, I'm not going to say incredible, but it was just part of the work I did. I wanted to see Darian Brown's face forward. And this is the obvious snapshot that they took from the Dallas Police Department when they had arrested him on the charges of kidnapping before the charge of capital murder came into play. And I said, okay, here's an 18-year-old, decent looking skin, got a fair complexion, sharp eyes, eyebrows are defined, ears are defined, lips are defined, nose defined, chin defined, neck defined, hairline defined, hair defined. And I wanted to see something that I needed to see. I wanted to see if I could match something up. And I went like this. And I went like this. And I studied the frontal picture and the profile picture together. And now what do you see? Okay. I wasn't satisfied, so I looked and studied the picture on the left. I wanted to get as much fine detail as possible because this picture was talking to me far more than the frontal picture was talking to me. And so I came back out, tried to find another shot. And I wanted to find if there was any similarities with Kameron. This was the only good profile shot that I could get opposite to try to see if I could match something up in terms of hair, nose, eyes, eyebrows, hairline. And Kameron has got his hair just crazy over his eyes. Hairline is slightly slanted rather than straight up and down. Hair curls around all over his ears, and obviously the hoodie covers the other picture's ears. We can't see the rest of the hair because of the hoodie. Can't see the jawline because of the mask under the chin. Couldn't get a good clear picture of the ears, but a partial here. I couldn't determine if this was Kameron with this picture facing the opposite direction, but face to face. So I had to go back to this picture, and I had to play with this picture a bit. And played with it I did. And I looked at this side, which is his left side, from the frontal shot to see if I could find something distinctive that I could put my eyes on. Nope, not the same. Wrong nose. Not the same. Yeah, I know. I couldn't make a distinction that way. So what I did do, say if you're going to do the left side, you might as well go ahead and do the right side. And so I did. And now, looking at the picture to the left and the right, which would be a half profile, a half frontal shot, I want you to see if you can line up anything yourself. I want you to look at both pictures and try to see if you can match up skin tone. I want you to look at both pictures and see if you can match up nose. I want you to look at the sideburns and see if you can match the length. Take your time. I want you to see his dreads over his right eye in the left picture, and then take a look at his dreads over his eye in the right picture. screenshot this if you want to as well for later study. But you see how much work this takes. Is this Darian Brown? Type a 1 in the room if you believe it's Darian Brown. Type a 2 in the room if you still believe that it is Kameron. Type a 3 in the room if you believe it's someone else. We got ones in here. Threes are honest answers. But look at the majority of the numbers popping up on the screen. This is interesting. The Dallas Police Department believes that this is Darian Brown. And if they took a look at the pictures that we've looked at ourselves and came to the conclusion that the picture on the left is Darian Brown with a shade tint in the face as he is here in color. Remember now, night vision and a regular day shot or camera shot are different. But they looked at hair, hairline, and as you can see, Darren's straight hairline almost to the middle of his ear also represents the hairline that is also straight here to the middle of the ear. To the eyes, to the eyes, to the nose, nose. Let me back up a little bit here. To the lips, 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 nose, ear, hairline, hairline, dreadlock, dreadlock, eyebrow, eyebrow, this is what the Dallas police believe it is. When I looked at this particular picture, I also believe it is Kameron in the room with the boys. It's as careful a look as anyone could possibly look. It's far closer than Kameron. And that is my opinion. But from the numbers that ranged up in tonight's chat, there were far more ones than there were twos. And maybe the majority of you will still say it is Kameron. And that's fine too, because your perception is your reality. Your perception is your truth. This was a very difficult thing for me to try to participate in and do because I'm after the truth as well. So are you, I know. Hold on one second, folks. I got everybody going crazy in here. Don't come beat up John Q now, because we're just trying to find the truth here. Thank you, Boss Blake. I did get that from you. Okay. Someone says, Naughty says, please put 3 together. Okay, let me see if I could do that. It's going to be a little tough because of the way these windows are. I'm going to see without... Best as I can. And this is the... Okay. As best as I can to try to put all 3 together. In a way... And it's hard because one is facing opposite. Give me a second. I'm working at it. Huh. Like I said, it's not easy, folks. Okay. What about now? Take your time. What about now? But I'll be hunting for some more picks. I will. Because I feel we're getting closer and closer to the point of knowing who is in that room. But as it appears, just with the facial characteristics that we're trying to work with here, a lot of this is definitely leaning more toward Darian being in that room than Kameron. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion. And then again, with the number 3s that have been showing up in the room, it could be somebody else. That could be a near go-between, in between both Kameron and Darian. They did associate and hang around friends who are like them, like attracts like. They were and are associated with people who also wear dreadlocks, who also have curly hair to a degree. Majority of them dreadlocks. There was one that was so close to Darian, Honcho Bands had came out and was also analyzed on another content creator's channel. I believe either it was Tiffany Marie's channel or Molly Golightly's channel. They were both working on these photos simultaneously. And you can actually see a close comparison, not an exact though, but just close enough to say, wow, same height, big feet, Same hair. It's very tough. It's very tough. And yes, I do have to take into consideration that a person with a headband on does raise the hairline. Yes, absolutely. And looking at that and the disguise, why would a person go disguised at night and come back during the day after committing a murder? I couldn't find any logical sense in that. If you're going to take something, if you're a thief, if you're going to steal something, you do it, you get it over with fast, and you do not look back. You keep going. You don't show back up to the crime scene just to make sure that nobody's seen you. When there was a camera in the boy's bedroom taking video surveillance of what had occurred. Am I taking callers? I will be, not tonight, but I'm working the calling session into part 3 because we do have a lot to talk about. And I'm sure you guys do have a lot to talk about, not only with me, but you come to your own conclusions and perceptions as to what you see. Every single one of us is entitled to our own personal viewpoints and opinions and perspective. They are not going to be identically alike until we all stand in the same room, seeing the same color on the same day at the same time, saying the same thing. And I'm sure you can agree with that. But I just wanted to show you some observations of my analysis and my investigation into this case. I want justice for Cash. The wrong that was done to that child, I feel it every single day. And so I work every single day and looking at these photos and looking at the videos and going to other content creator channels and listening to their content and their interviews and statements and how hard they've been digging into this case in order to get a better understanding, whether it be someone's character that we need to understand, the neighborhood, we need to understand the people involved, we need to understand the Dallas Police Department, we need to understand how this investigation was handled by the police, we need to understand. This is hard work. This is hard work. And so with that said, I hope I've given you more food for thought pertaining to this case. That is my objective. But when I saw this picture, as I said before in the beginning, and I tried to match up a lot of other different pictures that I could find, and I'm still young to the case, more and more information is beginning to lean more toward, in my opinion, Darren Brown than anyone else that I have found at this time. And it doesn't mean that my mind can't change if I do find something else. One more time. Just for you. And it's not the best picture, but it is a picture of the crime scene and of the individual, of the intruder, that a lot of people are calling Darren Brown, and a lot of people are not calling Darren Brown. Perhaps more so in the day it was Darian Brown, then the night. And I'm going to go with you on that. But I wanted to share with you in part 2 tonight a review and walkthrough of part 1 into part 2 to give you some perspective as to the walkthrough that was done by Kameron Mori. The camera that was used in the household that captured the video surveillance footage, how it worked, what it looked like, as best as I could. There is a blinking LED light on that camera, so when it senses motion, it does go off. There's a strong possibility that could be the light that was reflected off of the bedroom window coming back to us as we saw that light in the window. Many people who have mentioned that there was an orb in the room, and I looked at that compared to a bug flying in the room past the intruder, and I considered that too. I do take your comments and your thoughts and include them in all of my work, and I thank you for them because they do help to crystallize my thoughts in regards to presenting you with the content that I do find. So I'm here not to confuse anyone. I'm here not to do this for clicks and views. I never ask for them. I don't ask anybody to subscribe. I don't ask anybody to like. I don't ask anybody for nothing. I'm here voluntarily on my own to share with you a part of me that follows a case like this, as I did the Kanika Jenkins case, as I'm doing with the Orrin and Orson West case, classic and sincere. I do it because I'm a parent and a grandparent. I am concerned for our children of the future, just as well as you all are, because they are going to be the ones that are going to be responsible for how everything goes from that point, where we go from here. So we have to do the best we can. We have to. It's got to get better than this. And one of the ways, maybe not the only way, but one of the ways of making it better is to jump in, roll up your sleeves, and get down to it. And get down to it. So I thank you all for coming here tonight for part 2. I hope I've given you some more food for thought. Maybe you'll go back to the videos again. Maybe you'll find a better picture than I did to match it up. Maybe you'll find exactly what we're all looking for, and I hope you come back and share it. I hope you come back and share it so that we can get certain questionable pieces out of the way of this case, because this case is unfolding as well, and new information hits this case on a daily basis. So we're playing catch up. And now I'm in the back of the train trying to catch up to the engine. I'm in the caboose, and I don't mind. I'm taking my time though, so I won't miss anything. But as much of it as I can collect, I can come back and share with you. And it's not to use to criticize another. And it's not to be used to misinform another or use as factual evidence at all. No. It is just here to be shared with you so that you have a better perspective as to what you're looking for in terms of the truth for Cash Gernon. That's all. That's all. John Q is not the king of facts. Far from it. Okay. I can find some facts, yes. I can find some evidence to support those facts, yes, as best as I can. but I don't do a 100% complete circle. You know, there's still room for growth in terms of learning more and finding more. We all know that. I certainly do anyway. Okay. But I've been trying to keep these lives at least about 2 hours. I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of this information that I do want to share with you. So I'm trying to keep it at a good time pace to share with you what I've got, come back and do it in parts. I feel doing it in parts, it's better because it always gives me something to come back to you with sooner than later. I went 48 hours and came back to you. I'm looking to do another 48 and come back to you again. This time, I hope to have the phone lines hooked up. Mr. Boss Blake, my good buddy and friend, had given me some information on how to do so. So that's going to be our next step to be included in the next live, along with some additional content on this case. I'm learning every day. I'm learning every day. And I'm learning from others every day that are ahead of me and before me in this case every day. So we've got good teachers teaching John Q about the facts, the most important ingredients in this case. So I'm very grateful to them, as I am for you supporting me in what I'm doing here tonight. With that said, I'm going to close out in a couple of minutes. We're almost approaching the 2-hour mark. We've had an incredible night once again. Every time I close out a live, I feel that I've done something positive. I feel that God has blessed me with a word, a phrase, something to soothe and cure the heart, soothe the soul, if you will, for many of you, for some of you. Amen. Yes, you're welcome. Everyone, you're welcome. You're welcome. And Mr. Boss Blake, I will be touching base with you sometime tomorrow, just to go over a couple of other key points I wanted to share with you. And yeah, we're moving on. We're moving forward. We're doing the best we can, but we're going at our own pace. We're going at our own pace. We don't want to miss anything. I encourage you all to definitely visit and subscribe to the content creators that I had mentioned in my previous video today. You want breaking news, up-to-date breaking news. As I said, those are the content creators. In my earlier live video this afternoon, you couldn't miss it, to where I gave thanks and acknowledgement to, because they deserve it. They absolutely deserve it. And I stand behind their work 1,000%. And if there's any contribution I can make to add to their work and not take away from it, but to work as a member of the team and not try to be an independent outlaw, so to speak, stay in my own lane and all this other stuff. Well, I do that anyway, but to make a contribution to a group of folks strengthens us. Strengthens us all. There's strength in numbers. There's strength in a team. And rather than oppose each other, we can work together. And working together, we can get to the truth faster, because there are a lot of lies to get through, as I said in my first live. Indeed it is. And many people doing it too. So it's going to take a number of us people on YouTube, content creators, to chop those lies down and to get right down to the truth, the nitty-gritty where it belongs, so we can get justice for cash, because that's what's important. and we can get love and healing for his brother Carter, because that's utmost important. It is. I thank you all for coming. I'll be back. We got more to cover. And much love, peace, and blessings to you all. And as I always say, be well and stay blessed. With Godspeed. I'm John Q. We will return shortly. Take care. With Godspeed. Good night.